Okay, so yeah, this is the digital engineering welcome. So welcome everyone. My name is Jan Oliver Ringert, and I'm a professor of software engineering in the Faculty of Media. So you might have seen that the digital engineering program is actually a shared program between the civil engineering and environment sciences and the Faculty of Media. They're mainly the computer science. So I think a lot of things in this presentation you have already seen because you decided to apply for this program, right? But there are some things that just make sense to repeat, and I will also mention some things that might be challenging or that we noticed from other students who are a little bit further into the program. So who of you has contact with students who are more advanced in the program? So who has talked to somebody else who is further in the program, maybe third semester or so? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. Most of you, or quite a few of you. That's great. So it's always good to talk to the other ones. Don't believe everything they say. So, for example, when I started teaching some modules, I had lots of students show up in the first time I was teaching the module, and then the second year, less than half of the number of students showed up. And then I asked them what's going on. And when we went to the exam, they said, "Is it really true that so many people fail your classes?" It's actually, there are some rumors about, I don't know, the fail rates in exams, but so don't believe everything the other people say. Always ask the people teaching. They will tell you what are the failure rates. Sometimes people exaggerate. So sometimes the students exaggerate a bit. It's not that bad. Okay, there are, of course, some modules that we know in the program that are more challenging to some students, but yeah, this is, well, common knowledge, I guess, among most students, which modules these are. I'm not going to tell you, you will find out. I don't want to create any bias for you. Okay, so let's maybe start a little bit with you telling me a bit about yourselves. So we have this app here. It's an online application. It's called Particify. It is, according to all the data protection laws in Germany, which are quite strict. So it's completely anonymous. And I'm just using this to ask some questions throughout. And it's set so that whenever I change the question, then you get a new question. So you can't really step through the questions alone, but you'll just follow the questions as I ask them. So basically, the first thing is, I would like to know, what does Bauhaus mean to you? So we are here at Bauhaus-Universität Weimar, right? So you can just put some answers. What does Bauhaus mean to you? And it will look something like this. So we will have a word cloud that's already based on 2 answers. Hope there'll be more. Okay, so also for the further questions, you can just leave the browser tab open. When I click next, then it will be a different question. You might have to refresh, but there's also been an update to the app, so maybe it's a bit nicer now. So yeah, we have a lot. I mean, one of the biggest really is architecture. That's probably at no surprise. Art and architecture, they're both quite big. But yeah, we also see, well, design that kind of works also with architecture and art. Culture, so it's also, yeah, some cultural movement that started here in Weimar at the Bauhaus school, basically. Yeah, those are all good buzzwords. Some digital engineering, yes, we're trying to establish this a bit more. So in the future, this thing will probably be taking a bigger part of this word cloud. Yeah, university, of course, culture, architecture, engineering, design. Yeah, so it's a big name. and there's a lot behind this big name. So we're here at a very special place. That's the place. You probably know this now. And Bauhaus mainly stands for this union between, or this unity between arts and technology. It was not only just about creating arts, but also making it useful and helping the people create better products, design better products, build better products, make them also for the people with not so much money that they can still afford it. So now if you try to buy some of these original Bauhaus pieces, it's only for the people with lots of money. But back then it was intended to also go into mass production and help a lot of people by basically creating a new thing that emerged from the craftsmanship to more of an engineering and product creation. So there are some great famous artists, sculptors that you might have heard. One of them, Wassily Kandinsky, Paul Klee, Oskar Schlemmer, Walter Gropius. So some of them, like Walter Gropius, there's still the office that you can see in one of the main buildings there. So we have this great history of great people and great names. And this one, that's the Haus am Horn. That's a who knows this building? So it was basically, you can, has anybody been to the Bauhaus Museum? So there is this Klassik Stiftung Weimar. They basically own a bunch of museums, or they run a bunch of museums. They are like a foundation that maintains them. And they have, I think, every third Sunday in the month, the museums are open after maybe after 2 or after 3 for free. So basically there's a time of like 2 or 3 hours where you can get into the museums for free. So check their website. And then that's a good opportunity. Of course, you can also go and pay the entrance fee, but if you live in Weimar anyways or live close by, then just wait until they're open for free. It's every month, it's a regular time. So that's also a good thing. And then have a look at what all of these things mean and when they were created and by who they were created. Okay, so but you're here for the more, let's say, modern part of it, the digital engineering program. So there's basically some interdisciplinary course. I already told you that it's engineering and computer science that are working together in this, and that's also reflected in the intake that we take in our program. So you could come with anything that is related to computer science and anything that's related to engineering, and then we see if it fits. And all of you were lucky, and it was a good fit for this program. So the next probably 2 or maybe more years, this depends how fast you complete your studies, you'll be here. We'll be teaching in English, so all the program is taught in English. There are some language classes, then they will be, of course, in different languages that you can integrate into your program. So we will have a look at the possible ways to define your program yourself. This is not the only international master degree program. So we have about 30% international students at our university, which is quite big for a German university. And what we're teaching in this program, it's basically the essential skills for Industry 4.0, this German initiative to, digitize the industry, automation. And the focus will be on civil engineering. So we will have a look at the different modules that you can take, but there's a lot that is to it, and there are different branches that you can take. Has anybody looked at the module handbook? So the listing of all the different modules that you can select. So this will be a very important handbook for you in the next few years. Also, the timetables, they will come out at the beginning of every semester, where you see what is actually offered this semester, because they're usually offered every second semester. It's basically rotating the program. Okay, so now back to you. Let's move to the next question. The next question would have been, what countries did you study in before? So just to see where you're all coming from. It's the same link. You might have to refresh the window, or maybe it automatically refreshes. You can also mention multiple if you have multiple degrees. We have 16 answers and only 2 countries. That's crazy. Okay. Okay, so it looks like the size kind of represents how many times people have given this answer. Yeah, so there are not so many people from countries other than India, right? It looks like who's from India? Okay, great. Okay, but we also have a few other countries. I think last year it was a bit more diverse. Not sure why, but yeah. Okay, great. So yeah, let's see. I think there was another. So what fields do you hold degrees in? I think this will be more whatever's. Okay. Yeah, I think it's a bit more distributed. Of course, the big block civil engineering, but yeah, mechanical engineering. We also have some computer science, industrial engineering. Uh, yeah, aeronautics. Okay, great. Yeah, so it's always nice to have people with a diverse background because some of the stuff that we're teaching, it's it basically benefits from having different views on different topics and different understandings of what is engineering and yeah, what engineers work on. Okay, great. So let's go there later. Okay, so that's about you, but maybe the future. So of course there are many jobs in manufacturing and industry 4.0, and what you will or what we are hoping that you will be able to do after this program is basically to sit maybe in an engineering team or maybe even in a computer science team and basically work together with the other teams because usually big projects, they're not run by only one discipline. They usually require the integration of multiple disciplines and people to really know what the other kind of group of people is talking about. So if you just had maybe civil engineers, they need software too, right? But some of them, they're not so good at talking with maybe computer science people, right? Because computer science people, they speak very different languages. They think in very different ways. And you guys will learn both worlds, or well, all worlds of how different engineering disciplines and maybe computer science discipline and automation and everything, how they think, how they work, so that you can help integrate and help build better products and complete projects in a better way. So yeah, could be something like technical manager, system integrator, also simply consultant because you know different worlds, software developers. So we also have some people who come here, they are from some engineering backgrounds, but they really want to do software, and then they end up getting jobs, yeah, as software developers or data scientists, things like that. They happen also quite a lot. Or yeah, well, can remain engineer. Well, you will always, if you are an engineer, you will remain an engineer, but you can also work as an engineer then, right? Or there are also research positions, of course, always for people with these kind of skills. The teaching that we do, as you will see, there will be quite a few projects, hand-on projects, also a bit research projects. So there will always be this kind of theoretical part that is linked to what the different professorships in our universities do and the kind of research that they perform. And you will work with them or their PhD students on some projects. These projects, they are in the second year. So in the first year, you will mainly build up the basic skills. so that everybody's on the same level. And then you will go to do these projects. I don't know if you've seen on this leaflet, so there is a project fair where all of these projects are being introduced. That's today, I think, in the main, at 5, right? So if you want to go, you're welcome to go and listen, but you can't yet sign up for any of the projects unless you have passed your fundamentals. So everybody has these 3 fundamentals, and you have to have completed them in order to do the projects. So you can go there and listen, but just be warned, it's a very, very long meeting. So it's probably 2 or 3 hours, because everybody has 3 or 4 minutes to present their projects, and there are many students, so we need many projects, and that's why this thing will last probably 2 or maybe 2.5 hours. So if you want to go, you can go, but yeah, be prepared that it will be long. Okay, so this is this is the overview of the possible curriculum. You see that we have these boxes of fundamentals. Some are in so each line basically is 1 semester, and then the top 2 are the first year, and the bottom 2 are the second year. And the modules that you can take, so the fundamentals, they are already, where's the mouse? Yeah, here. The fundamentals, they're already determined. You have to take the ones that are written in your acceptance letter. Usually you cannot take all of them in the same semester, so maybe you can take 1 this semester and the other 2 the next semester. I think there are some rules that you have to have completed them at the end of the 3rd semester, so don't delay them. The ones that are offered right now, go there, try to take them. Some of them, they might be more difficult than others, but yeah, don't delay it for too much, because if they're offered this semester, then the next time they'll be offered is basically 1 year after, and then it will be tricky to complete all of the fundamentals. So the fundamentals are intended to do as soon as possible. And also, if you fail them in the first attempt, then you can redo them. So the fundamentals, they are, you can retake them every semester. So you don't have to wait a year to retake them. You can then retake them the next semester. They will not be taught again the next semester, but you can still do the exams the next semester. Okay, and then we have these main blocks: engineering methods and computer science methods. And those you can pick from. There are some maybe things that could guide you picking those, but it's really up to you and up to the module catalog. And in addition to those, which are a bit more restricted because you can pick them from some certain list, there are also the electives. So the electives, this would be 12 credits. And so each one of these bigger blocks, that's 6 credits. So that's basically 1 lecture with the exercises and everything. So these electives, you can also put 12 credits of them into your program. And there you're free to take, I think, from any master program in the university. So often people then maybe, if they see, well, I can only take a limited number of computer science methods, modules, you can take additional ones and just put them in your electives. You can always take additional modules and have them in your transcript when you graduate. So they will then, if you don't put them in one of these blocks, they cannot be counted towards your final grade, but they will still appear in your transcript and they will still show that you took them. Yes, then there's these projects, the research project, where you will basically work with some group from some professorship. It's usually maybe 5 students or maybe even 10 students, depending on the project that is being offered. And you will do some research stuff, some hands-on research that contributes to the group usually. And then, well, at the end of your studies, you can basically do this master's module. So this is your master thesis. And it usually is preceded by some initial research. So this initial research, you By then, you know many of the professorships and many of the groups in the university, so then you will try to pick one and see they're doing stuff that interests you and that you think you can really focus a lot on. Then you talk to them about some topic. You will discuss some possible topics in their research area, and then do the initial research to demonstrate that you know what you're trying to do in your final project, and then you do your final project. So yeah, that's still some time from now, but it will come. And these are the blocks, again, in a different way as an overview. So the fundamentals, that's basically, well, 3 kind of modules. So each module 6 credits, and that's then 18 credits. Engineering methods, that's 36. Computer science, that's 18. So you always have to divide it by 6 kind of to get the number of modules that you can do. So example modules from the fundamentals, many of you with an engineering background, they have these algorithms and data structures, the software engineering, and the object-oriented modeling and programming in engineering. And some others with a computer science background, often they might get the introduction to mechanics, and yeah, some other ones. It's always quite specific based on what you studied in your previous degree. Those are basically chosen by some committee. Yes, so then these are the engineering methods. So each one of those would be then 6 credits. There are some tricky bits about some of the mathematics modules. We will come to that a bit later. So just remember that all of these blocks, all of these things to fill your blocks in the engineering methods and the computer science methods, they have to be 6 credits worth each. For the electives, doesn't really matter how many credits they are. They could be down to maybe 2 credits or 3 credits. So some language classes, they are basically less credits, but then you can put them in your electives. Okay, but I think we're sometimes adding new modules here, rarely removing, but sometimes, of course, also modules get removed if they're no longer taught. So the up-to-date list is always on the website. There's like a module catalog where you can find each of these titles, and then one page that describes to you what are the learning outcomes, what is the material, the content of this lecture. And have you seen this? Yeah, so that's the timetable for this semester. So each semester you get a timetable, and then this is not yet customized to you. So this is basically everything that is offered within the main blocks of the digital engineering curriculum. So that's the fundamentals, the computer science methods, and the engineering methods. The electives, they will not necessarily be in here. You can take some of these as electives, of course, if you want, but there are a lot more electives that are open to you, and you find them in the programs of the other study programs. So in maybe the Master for Computer Science and Digital Media, or the Civil Engineering Master's degree, or Environmental Engineering Master's degree. There you can take all those courses into your electives. Okay, so basically what you do at the beginning of the semester, you check which ones are the fundamentals or other requirements that you really have to complete, right? So the fundamentals are ones that are quite important to you. So let's see, what are the fundamentals? We must have this algorithm. No, the algorithms, data structures was last semester. So you probably must have the object-oriented modeling and programming. So there's one block here which says that it's a lecture, and often every lecture they also have an exercise with it. So yeah, let's see here. That collides with my lecture. It's not nice. Okay, so basically now all of you who need to take the object-oriented programming, you basically have this block taken, so you can't really take the introduction to machine learning in this semester, and you can't really take the formal methods for software engineering in this semester because there's a collision in the timetable. This will always happen because there are so many choices for you to make, so you kind of have to see how these choices will work out for you. So based on what is offered here, you basically create your own personal timetable. sometimes in the first meetings, they tell you that some of the exercises maybe only happen every second week. Then you might have a chance to also go to another lecture, or some lecturers, they also make the recordings of the lectures available. Some others, they don't, because they don't like that people don't show up to their classes. It's not so nice to teach in front of an empty room. Especially if then, I don't know, you have maybe 8 people sitting in your room, but you have to correct 40 submitted homeworks, and then still, yeah, maybe 40 people come to the exam, and then the majority fails the exam because they were never in the lecture. So I also do record some videos, but I basically just record what I'm saying here in class. And that's not the same as having some nice online course where somebody explains things in chunks of, let's say, 10 minutes, and then you think about it, you relax. It's really just the recording of the lecture. So this is just intended for, you sit in the lecture, you listen to what I'm saying, you ask questions at the right time. So you reflect on what I'm saying, you ask questions. And then later, when you maybe revise for the exam or so, you still have the recording available in case you don't remember what I said for one of the particular slides. So that's my intention, why I make available the videos. Of course, you can also use it if there's really something, I don't know, some family reasons or so that you cannot attend the lectures, then you can use these. But usually it's not as effective as really being in class and trying to participate actively. And that's, of course, for the other lectures as well. So some people, they don't even make it available. But yeah, quite a lot of them do. Okay. And if you have talked to people from previous semesters, maybe they still have some links to some videos that were available 2 years ago or so. Yeah, then you have to decide whether you want to work or study on those and skip the lectures, or whether you want to go to the lectures. Sometimes materials also get updated, so it's a gamble to work on old videos. That's not maybe the most reliable thing always. Okay. Then one thing that you might have seen, but it's not yet very prominent because we just introduced this last year. That's the profile lines. So basically, this thing is very, very small, but that's in your what is it, the study regulations maybe? Yeah, so that's basically a mapping of some of the modules to profile lines. So profile lines, right now we have 2. One is called materials and structures, and one is called mobility and transport. And the idea is basically that you take at least 60 credits that kind of belong to this topic. So you can study anything you want from these from the module handbook, right, to fill your blocks. But if you're really interested in these particular profile lines and you want it written on your transcript in the end that you studied in this profile line, then you can look at how many credits does each of these modules have in the profile line. So you can see that some of them, they belong to the structures and materials profile line, and some of them, they belong to the mobile and transport profile line. But there's really no requirement that you are in any of these profile lines. There might be additional profile lines introduced in the future. So yeah, that's a new thing that we introduced last year. So nobody ever had one of those profile lines on the transcript, because the students that started with this, basically they are now in their 3rd semester, right? So nobody has yet figured out how these really work. But I'm just going to tell you that this is the intention. So there are also some requirements of each of the blocks. So you have this engineering methods blocks where you have to put in, I think, 36 credits, and 18 of those have to be belonging to the profile line. Then in the computer science methods, 12 credits. So 2 of the lectures, they have to be associated to this profile line. Then the project, you can get out of these 60 credits that you need, you can get up to 12 credits if it is recognized for the profile line. And this, whether the project belongs to a profile line, it's basically up to the person supervising the project. They will know, and they need to tell the examination office. So if you choose a project, you can ask the person supervising the project whether this can be counted towards this particular profile line, and then they will tell the examination office if they haven't already told the examination office. Yeah, then the master's module, so your final project, the final master thesis, this also has to belong to the profile line. And you can also add, if with the regular modules you're not getting those 60 credits because you took some other ones in the engineering methods, then you can add up to 12 credits from the profile line and get them recognized to make these requirements of the 60 credits. Okay, now some advice. So there are some requirements for the master thesis. You need to achieve English level C1. If you already have English level C1, then you need to send your proofs right now to the examination office and prove to them that you have English level C1. If you wait until you start your master thesis, your language certificate might have been expired, and this would be really annoying because then it will no longer be recognized, right? So some of the language tests, they have like expiration dates or something. They're only valid for, I don't know, 2 years or something like that. So if you already have level C1, send your proof of level C1 to the examination office. That's that's Nadine Glaser. So there's if you look for the examination office, it's also on the digital engineering webpage. You also need to achieve English, German A1. So that's, really just the basics. Then we offer some language courses. So you might have received an email today, a few hours ago, about this academic English. So I think that is somewhere here, this academic English consultations, and I think it's an online course where you can also get, or maybe it's in person now, I don't know. Previously it was an online course, and it has the consultation hour. So you can sign up for this, and this will be, if you pass those, I think there'll be an equivalent for the English C1. So that's an alternative, and probably, it's a good idea to brush up your academic English if you want to. The language courses, so for example, if you take the German A1 language course, in your electives, you can use them as part of your credits of your study program. So, but there's a cap, so you can't study, let's say, 30 credits of, I don't know, German and get this all towards your final grade in your master's. So only 6 of the credits can be counted in your electives. The other ones you can still do, and it will still be on your transcript, but it will not be as officially as those electives. Okay, then one thing, maybe it's a good idea to have this last question now. What's your highest level of German that you have obtained? So starting with A1. There's no lower than A1 here, huh? Anybody lower than A1? Yeah. Then just pick A1 because otherwise the statistics will be messed up. Really? This has also been different in previous semesters. Niemand spricht auch nur ein bisschen Deutsch? Nobody, no, really? Huh. Okay. That's really funny because sometimes we had people with higher levels. I don't know. So yeah, one reason that German is also important because there are many jobs, especially in, let's say, civil engineering areas where you have maybe smaller companies, offices, and not all of them are speaking English so well. And that's why many of them might also hesitate hiring people that don't speak German so well. So I mean, I'm in computer science, so some of the students that did their master thesis with me, then, well, you never know where they end up, right? But when you supervise their master thesis, you kind of know where they end up because they tell you when they finish their master thesis where they're going afterwards. So many of the ones that I supervised, they ended up in some companies, but mainly in the area of data science or computer science. And then it's easier with English, right? Because there, maybe it's an international company. If it's a huge company, then they can switch to English. But smaller companies could be tricky. So also once I had some meetings about master thesis supervision. So some students, they like that their master thesis is supervised in industry also, or co-supervised in industry, which is not really officially possible, but there are ways to kind of have the student work in a company and then do the master thesis based on a project that they work on in the company. But then, yeah, if you're looking at maybe some automotive supplier or something like that, right? Some of them, they are down in Bavaria, where the German is again slightly different. So if your German is not so good, then yeah, you might not have a clue what they're talking about because they have like a strong accent. And if they notice that you don't understand them, then it might also not be so easy for them to decide on a supervision with you. So yeah, we also observed some cases like this. So I don't want to discourage you. There are some students here who easily get jobs, but some of them they tell us that German is really important and that it's a good idea to start learning German early. Yeah.
I have a question about the language. So I have an IELTS certificate right now. If I submit to the examination bureau right now, my certificate will expire in May. So I don't. If I submit now, I don't have to take the English course.
If you submit it now and it's equivalent to C1, yes, then you don't have to take the English course.
Even
Yes.
though my certificate expires this May.
Yeah, but then you have already provided the proof that you have this level. So then once you provided the proof, it doesn't expire inside the university, this proof. But we had some students who basically didn't do it in the beginning, and then their certificates expired when they wanted to give the proof, and this was a problem. So that's why I'm telling you to do it. Best thing to do it right now, to give the proof that you have that certain level if it's equivalent, because then it doesn't expire. Yeah, then it's on record in the examination office, and this record basically stays until you graduate. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, German language skills are important. Some students, they're even doing a like a vacation semester just to do an intensive German course. There are always trade-offs, right? Because it extends the study period. So yeah, there's no easy way to finish the degree, which is basically a full-time job. So it's 30 credits per semester, which then if you calculate the equivalent in hours, that basically means you have to work full-time on your studies because you're taking maybe 5 different lectures with their exercises and maybe homework. So yeah, it is really difficult to do additional stuff on top of this. Yeah, and then one thing about the stipulations or the mandatory modules, those fundamentals, you should finish them within the first 3 semesters. So this means, yeah, start them in the first semester, the ones that are already offered. So this semester, this would be the object-oriented programming. So yeah, definitely sign up for that one. Yeah, then some, yeah, so here those study and exam regulations, they're on the website. You take the ones based on your intake. So it says yeah, well, it says somewhere which is your intake. So you take the regulations, the most recent ones from 2023. If the regulations are updated, then they only apply to the students who joined after the regulations were updated. So basically, the way you're studying, it remains on the regulations that you started with, unless you apply for changing to newer regulations. But yeah, there are no newer regulations right now than the ones that you started with from basically last year. So yeah, that's the ones that you study with, and also the study regulations and examination regulations, it makes sense to have a look at them. And then, of course, always ask the people teaching the classes if anything is unclear. And we also have further contacts. You can ask me, or you can ask Matthias Artus, who's the what is like the study counselor, something like that. So he has very good overview over all of the modules. So he's a postdoc in the faculty of civil engineering and environmental sciences. So he knows not only he first studied computer science, but then he did his PhD in civil engineering, and now he's in the civil engineering faculty. So he knows basically all the modules in the program very well. I know some of them, mainly the computer science ones, also some of the math and civil engineering ones, but he's the one who can maybe give some counseling on what modules to take for your program. Yes, so one thing that sometimes gets in the way of students is that usually these 18 credits of fundamentals, they have to be completed before you can start this research project. So the project that is intended to be in the third semester. So if you, I don't know, almost have concluded those 18 credits or something, just check with the examination office whether there are any special restrictions, but usually you should have completed them before you can take the project. And if you haven't received the required credits, and if there are no exceptions in your case, then your vote for a project will simply be deleted, and that's not nice. So just check on your transcript, or if there are any doubts with the examination office, whether you can vote for the project or not. And then there is this initial research or preparatory research module that you must have completed before the thesis can be started. So probably in the third semester, you want to look into this, but it doesn't make really sense to look into this right now because you don't know all of the different topics and areas and the different professorships. So just keep that in mind for later, that you have to do some initial research before you can officially start the thesis. Some advice from other students and observations. This kind of is based on what you intend to do afterwards, right? If you really want to find a job in Germany for a few years to work here, then internships are helpful or can be helpful. Sometimes people do an internship and then they manage to kind of still get paid for the duration that they do their thesis. And then if they're really, really lucky, they even get a job at the company afterwards. So this happens, but there's no guarantee. And there's also no guarantee that you find internships. There are also some strange regulations about who pays for the insurances and social security stuff. So internships are not a part of our program, which means that because they are not part of your studies, it might mean that if you're paid for those internships, then you have to pay your own health insurance or something like that, because you're not studying officially anymore. So all this stuff is possible. Maybe ask somebody who did it. There are usually some older, higher semester students who did this. But it can be a bit tricky to do. And I'm not sure what percentage of students does this. Not everybody does this. And sometimes we have students kind of coming back from their internship, bringing a piece of paper where the company that they did their internship in says, well, you could do this as a master thesis. But then they don't find anybody who wants to supervise their master thesis. Often because we require for master thesis some research component. And sometimes the companies, they basically want to extend your internship by paying you nothing or close to nothing. So they want you to do maybe more legwork or basic work, which doesn't really qualify as a master thesis. So then it's difficult for any professor here in our university to supervise this, because we know that it will be very conflicting, that they want you to do a lot of hands-on boring work, and we need you to do some research component in it. So sometimes this works, but it usually only works if you know exactly who is going to supervise you, which professor is going to supervise you, does it align with their research, with their interests, with what they're teaching, and then you can arrange meetings with the people at the company and you and the professors, and then it might work out, right? So I've done this a few times. Sometimes it didn't really work out because maybe they wanted something else, or yeah, there were other problems. But sometimes it worked out, and sometimes it worked out really nicely. So yeah, it's possible, but it's difficult. But yeah, there are cases where it happens, and there are cases where yeah, it works out nicely. Yeah. So yeah.
So I need a clarification on the fundamentals of the project. According to the first point, the fundamentals, the 18 units must be completed before the project. So in the case whereby I decide to split my fundamentals into 3 semesters and also have to take the project that same semester, so how do I go about it?
Yeah, don't split it in 3 semesters because then you can't really do the project. Yes. So there are some, yeah, there might be some exceptions, but not if you basically delay it for too long. So yeah. So the fundamentals you should try to do as complete as fast as possible. But that should work out nicely. So this semester you can do the programming stuff. Well, you're engineering or so the engineering ones, this semester you could do the programming, and then next semester you do the data structures and algorithms together with software engineering, and then that's it. So and those, when there are 2 fundamentals in one semester, usually the fundamentals are not conflicting. So it's not like here this yeah, this semester the object-oriented modeling and programming is conflicting with my formal methods for software engineering, but there it kind of makes sense that you had the software engineering first. It's not a requirement, but so it's conflicting with something that you would take maybe as an elective or as later in the semester as part of the computer science methods. Yeah, so when there are, we had this last semester where there was a potential conflict between the fundamentals, but then yeah, it was quickly removed. Yeah. So usually this should work out. And one other thing, if you don't fail an exam, then you don't have the right to take the exam the semester after. So for example, if the programming object-oriented programming, modeling and programming is offered right now, and you take it this semester and you fail, then you can take it the next semester again, the exam. If you decide not to do the exam, then you don't fail, but then you don't have the right to do it next semester again, the exam. So this is also something maybe, yeah, decide whether you want to take it and fail so that you have the right to do it next semester. But you can also ask, so for example, in the software engineering, in the software engineering, I'm teaching that next semester. So I usually allow students to take the exam anyways in the semester after, even if they didn't fail, right? So maybe other professors do that as well, right? So then you don't have to fail, but check this with the person offering the exam, right? Ask them, do I have to fail your exam to take it next semester, or can I take it anyways next semester, right? Because, yeah, I mean, there are sometimes students who decide to fail to have the right to do it next semester, but then next semester maybe something else gets in their way, and this then, if they fail a few times, so I think the maximum number of times you can fail is 3 times, and then that's it. Your studies are terminated. So that's why accumulating fails is not such a good idea, but check how each professor does it. So even if you don't have the right to do something, they can still allow you to do something, right? So yeah. Okay. Yeah, and your third try, you usually have to tell the examination office. So usually sign up for exams in the system, and when it's your third try, it will tell you that it's your third try. So you shouldn't sign up, but you should write an email to the examination office and say, this would be my third try. Can I register? And then there might be, they will ask the person teaching it, and they might say, no, you can't. You have to, I don't know, sit in the lecture again or something like that, right? So in theory, they could deny, or they could give you additional requirements for doing your third try. So your third try, you should always check first with the examination office. They might just say, yes, you can do the third try. You can also ask whether the third try can be done under different examination modalities. So for example, if it's always an exam, you could ask whether you can do it as an oral exam. That might work out for some. So some people, they do it because some students are maybe not so good in writing exams. But I mean, if you get to your third attempt, it's really, you should do this in every module, right? And I think yeah, so yeah, you don't have the right to do it under a different modality. So they could still reject it and say, no, you have to take the exam again on your third attempt, right? But often people do this. So I usually allow the student to choose for the third attempt whether they want to do the oral exam or whether they want to do the written attempt. Yeah, okay. But yeah, try not to fail and just pass all of the modules with good grades, and then you'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for the advice that I have collected. So now, yeah, there are some information arriving in Weimar what to do. One more thing, don't know why it's on this slide, should have been on the previous slide. For math courses, I think I mentioned this, that all of the modules in your engineering methods, they have to be 6 credits. But some math courses, they are basically split just for some, I don't know, timetabling issues. They basically have a lecture of 3 credits and then a project of 3 credits. And in digital engineering, this counts as a 6-credit module if you do this as a pack together. In civil engineering, some of the students, they can simply do only the lecture and not do the project, and then have it as like a 3 credits block somewhere because they have different study regulations. But for us, it's always the 6 credits if you put it in the engineering methods. So if you put it in the electives, the 3 credits are fine, I think. But if you put it in your engineering methods, you have to make sure you get the 6. So there was recently a case where this happened, that some student registered their master thesis, and to register your master thesis, you need to have filled all of your other requirements. So all of your lectures completed, and then they noticed that this student was basically missing the project, so only had 3 credits instead of the 6, because the student thought that they could compensate it with other credits somewhere else, and that didn't work. So this was not a nice case. In the end, the professor gave the student a project that the student could then do during the semester break, and the student was kind of lucky that they still got this 6 credits then on time. But yeah, this is just something to look out for. You should always take the module handbook of digital engineering as the reference. When it says there, the optimizations math module has 6 credits, then yeah, make sure you do the 3 plus 3. Okay. Yes. Are there any questions? Yeah. So this is there are different math modules, right? the ones that you have to take as foundations, then I think that statistics one is anyways 6 credits. I think the math ones, it was this optimization one, which is in the engineering methods.
Stochastic simulation,
Ah,
the design and interpretation of experiments. I think these are the subjects we have like that, like 3 credits per exam and 3 credits per project.
okay, yeah.
Optimization, stochastic simulation techniques, design and interpretation of experiments.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, but you can always ask the person teaching the module, right? They will also know. And yeah, all of these people that are teaching these modules, they should also know a lot about the digital engineering modules, because they are like a core group of digital engineering professors. And then there are, of course, other ones in civil engineering or also in computer science that don't officially teach in digital engineering, but then they might offer projects, those research projects in digital engineering, or they might offer lectures that you take as your electives, right? So this also happens, and then they might not know all the regulations. But yeah, usually start by asking the one teaching the module if it's unclear. And then if that person doesn't know, maybe the Fachstudienberater, so that's like the study counselor, the guidance counselor. Where's the, did I have one more slide? Here. Yeah, so that's Dr. Matthias Artus. He's the guidance counselor, I think, for this program. So he knows all the details as well. And if he doesn't know, then the last resort is the examination office. So they are, yeah, they are the ones who will figure out if we can't figure it out. Yeah, and check your university email regularly. So sometimes the stuff that goes over the mailing list. This morning, I saw that the email addresses of the new students, so this would be, I guess, most of you here, were sent to the secretary to add you to the mailing list. So maybe you haven't received yet any of the emails on the mailing list, but probably from tomorrow, you might get emails that say DE all as the list identifier. Then those are from the digital engineering mailing list. Okay. And if you're not on that mailing list, then you need to contact Ruby Richter. But well, I think she's only putting you on today, right? Because so if by, I don't know, next week or 2 weeks from now you haven't received any emails, then something is wrong, and then you might check with her or ask other students if they have received any digital engineering mailing list emails. Yeah, any other questions? So we're also organizing, I think probably only every year, maybe every semester, a meeting towards the end of the semester where we are open to questions and feedback from all of the students. So usually that's then not only first semester, but all of the semesters. And yeah, then you might have more questions in a few weeks from now. So either you approach us individually or yeah, you wait for this kind of feedback conference. And I think there are also some WhatsApp groups where most of you are in, or is that only for the higher semesters? Or yeah, so who's in the WhatsApp group about digital engineering? Some of you are. Everyone is? Okay, great. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, then that's also a good place, of course. Yeah, to check. Are there any more questions? Okay, yeah, then yeah.
Also, a clarification. The German E1. So I don't know if this counts. I attended Goethe Institute for an intensive E1 class.
Yeah.
But didn't take the standardized exam at the end of the day, just lecture. Does that count?
I don't know. I mean, you could try to send. Do you have any documents about this? then you can try to send it to the examination office, and they might have to forward it to the language center if they want to check it. So usually, if it's not one of the officially accepted paperwork, then we have to ask our language center, and they might say that it's fine. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, then yeah, thanks a lot, and congratulations again for joining the program. You have one more. It's on the website, I think, Nadine Glaser. But yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So then, yeah, congratulations for being here, and hope to see you soon.